Dakshine Kalike. Kring, 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 hom, hom, kring, 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 hom, hom, kring, 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 hom, hom, kring, kring. Swaha. Om. Namaste. So here we are, me and Lion, living the life of Riley in a hotel on a mountaintop. I mean, I could just stay here. I'm having a blast. But first I want to show you my new air guitar. Here it is. It's a nice one, huh? Ready? I'm not really too good on guitar, but I'll try to make it up with the vocal. Okay, here we go. Can you hear it? One pill makes you smarter, and one pill makes you dull. And the ones that doctors give you don't do anything as well. So much for my musical aspirations. But seriously, seriously, this might be the last video I ever make. At least on this channel. But seriously, what if there was a pill? What if there was a drug, a medicine that you could take, and it would make you smarter? What's the definition of smarter? You can solve problems that you couldn't solve without it. So what if there was a medicine like that? And what if it was a naturally occurring plant? And what if some idiot up in the high muckamuck of government had been told to make it illegal so that people can't use it? Sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. You see, there is such a drug. There is such a medicine. In fact, there are quite a few of them. And these are the medicinal plants, the sacred herbs used in so-called primitive, but actually very sophisticated native societies all over the world. So, why are these substances prohibited? Well, because there's a very interesting property of these substances that make you more intelligent. That if you don't take them, they make you less intelligent. Bear with me while I reason this out. If there is a medicine that makes you more intelligent and you take it, that's intelligent. But it's much less intelligent if you know about it, but you don't take it. And it's much, much, much less intelligent if you try to stop people from taking it, or make propaganda against it, or punish people for taking it. My friend Terence McKenna once quipped, this is a great one. He said, these psychedelic substances, psychedelic means mind expanding, right? More intelligent. These psychedelics are so powerful that they can cause negative emotion, hysteria, and even psychosis among people who have never taken them. And the funny thing is, the effect on the people who take them is just the opposite. Now, I'm not talking about the scare stories, the yellow journalism about somebody, some poor soul with an underlying psychiatric condition who took some psychedelic drug and did something really stupid. I'm not talking about that person. That person should have been screened out and would be screened out if these substances weren't illegal and therefore available on the black market. But what these substances do is psychedelia. It causes an expansion of the consciousness, an expansion of the mind, a bigger view, a more intelligent view. And in that view, we can see that the pillars of so-called civilized society are hogwash, absolute hogwash, because they require belief in a series of propositions that have never been proven and can never be proven, starting with the proposition that this world that we see through the senses is real. Nobody can prove that. This is a well-known problem in philosophy going back thousands of years to the Greeks. Nobody can prove that they are not dreaming. And the reason they can't prove they are not dreaming is because any of the evidence that they could call forth is also part of the dream. But what if somebody found a way to wake up? What if somebody found the door? The door of perception. Saying, I'm out of here, bye, slam. What if somebody actually used their intelligence to look at everything and realize that it is a dream? A very powerful and long-lasting consensual hallucination. So people who criticize psychedelic drugs for causing hallucinations are themselves living in what no less an authority than Albert Einstein called a remarkable shared hallucination. Of course, I know, I've been doing this for a while now, making these videos. I can trot out all the arguments and the evidence, and even the evidence for my own life, which I'm going to get to in a minute. And people already have their minds made up going into this, so it's not going to really change anything. This is why I get tired of doing these videos. You can put out the best information from the finest sources and back it up with tons of examples. It doesn't matter. People already have their minds made up. So at best, like Lord Brahma told the Buddha, there are a few with less dust in their eyes. And you can help them. So that's who this video is for. If your eyes are tight shut, eyes wide shut on the inside and open on the outside only, this is not for you. Don't waste your time. And if you're one of the already awakened ones, well, what am I going to tell you, right? You already know. But if you're kind of on the fence, if you're kind of neither here nor there about it, which is honest, because if you haven't tried these things, you really don't know what they do. Then it might help you to take that one little step over the fence and pick one of the flowers and smoke it. What can I say, people? Oh yeah, I was going to give some examples from my own life. See, I was in college, or I was in music school, and I had this friend, this girlfriend, who I had met in New York, Mensa. Mensa is the club for smart people. And she was only 16. She was jailbait at the time. Didn't seem to matter to her, but it mattered to me. So I left her alone. She went off to the West Coast. And she came back a couple of years later when I was in music school and said, "Hey, can I stay with you for a few days?" I said, "Sure. You're 18 now, right?" So we exchanged gifts. She gave me a beautiful tantric sexual experience. And she also gave me some really fine acid, LSD. So this is when I was like, 19, 20 years old. It wasn't even illegal then. So, wow, that changed everything. Now I could see very clearly that the things that I had doubted in the human society really were wrong, really were stupid, really were exploitative and manipulative. So she went back to the West Coast and left me a different person. And, okay, well, let's fast forward. You know, I'm studying music. There was this one piece by John Coltrane Quartet. It's the movement Pursuit from A Love Supreme. I'll try to find a link and post it up here. And this is the most overwhelmingly sophisticated piece of music I have ever heard. And for 10 or 12 years, seriously, I was listening to this. It's one of my favorite pieces. Without understanding it, theoretically, I couldn't figure it out. It was too complicated. It's too far out. So there was a point in my life when I owned and operated a mycological laboratory. That is a biolab for raising mushrooms. And I just happened to have some psychedelic mushrooms. So I took some, not enough to make me deliriously non-functional and happy as a clam, but just enough to give my intelligence that extra edge. And what do you know, within 15 minutes I had it figured out. Not maybe down to each individual note level, but I had theoretically the tonality and the voicings they were using and the key relationships. Had it all figured out after just 15 minutes. So a problem that I couldn't solve was solved so quickly. And, you know, maybe this is something I've been doing for a long time. Maybe when I comment on traditional spiritual paths, I'm doing so with the background of these experiences that go beyond time and space. And I don't need any guru. I certainly don't need a temple and all the social problems that come along with a spiritual group. And I really don't need somebody to tell me what to do or what to think. So I look at things in my own way, and sometimes I use the plant helpers, maybe twice a year. You know, I'm not hung up on it. I'm not a fanatic. I use it when I need it, like any tool. Huh? It's not like I go out to the garage and rev up my 12-inch circular saw every night, you know. No, but it's there. That really powerful tool is there when I need it. So it's the same way with these consciousness expanding substances. Consciousness expanding substances, that it's not something you do every day. That would be ridiculous. And people who do that burn out very quickly. But it's something you do when you're stuck. Like over the last 6 months or so, I've been feeling increasingly stuck in my role as an explainer of the scriptures, you know, and speaker of my own insights and so on. And I've been feeling more and more like it's just water under the bridge, you know. People who have already made up their mind not to accept my advice for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter, are never going to accept it. And like I said earlier, those who have already awoken and seen the reality, the pure consciousness, don't need anything from me, you know, they're fine. It's the people on the fence, the people just in between, who are curious or have a need, they feel some tension in their being, and they're trying to resolve it, trying this, trying that, that I could encourage them to keep trying, because it leads somewhere. And this advice about these transcendental consciousness expanding substances, there, I said it. This could be the most important key to your search. If you haven't ever tried it, please believe me, you owe it to yourself to give it a chance. If it doesn't work, you can just, you know, unsubscribe from my channel and move on. It's not going to hurt you. And of course, I guess I have to say, we don't recommend doing heroin or morphine or speed of any kind, methadone, MDMA, Adderall, and so on. And we don't recommend any substance of any kind that is so toxic that if you do too much of it, you'd hurt your body. That includes alcohol. Heck, it even includes milk. Don't OD on milk now. Really, about 2 cups a day maximum. But seriously, we don't recommend doing any kind of plant substances that don't have thousands of years of history of safe use by people of all types in a tribal context, in tribal history going back centuries ago. So ayahuasca, yes. San Pedro, mescalino, of course, good old ganja, marijuana, but especially magic mushrooms. LSD, be careful, it's very powerful. If you're the least bit out of balance or neurotic, it could really send you, you know, on a trip. But the gentle medicines, the magic mushrooms are so non-toxic that it would literally, you'd have to literally eat a barrel full of them to have any ill effects on the body. Now, the effects on the mind are another thing. And with any plant substance or sacred helper, you want to start very small and very slow and work your way up. Don't take heroic doses just to impress your stupid friends. In fact, taking them with friends is not recommended. You should take them alone in a very silent place, a well-guarded place where you know you won't be disturbed. And so you isolate the effects. You see, you have to have a clear baseline and not have your perception of what's happening to you affected by the people around you. That's why it's better to do them alone. Maybe the first couple of times, a very low dose, it would be helpful to have experienced people with you who can tell you, describe what's going on, and stuff like that. But these things really can't hurt you. So if there's a pill that makes you smarter, it would be smart to test it out, don't you think? Now I'm going to say what I've already said so many times. Probably by this time nobody believes me, but it really might be true this time. That I've said everything I had to say, probably numerous times. If you go back on this channel, you'll find a fair amount of repetition. But it doesn't seem to have gotten across or sunk in or really made a dent. So I'm going to have to assume that the people who need it have got it, and the people who don't need it are cool, and that the people who won't listen anyway aren't going to get anything out of it anyway. So I've done my thing. I've shot my, shot my jets. I'm shooting on all thrusters, Captain. And I get the feeling that I could go on with this, for a long time. And things would probably still just stay the same. The channel might grow a little bit, But those are just phony internet numbers anyway. But what I'm leading up to saying is that my life is getting very interesting all of a sudden. And I want to be fully available to experience it. And I, in many ways, want to be free of the burden of presenting to a large group of people and, having to adjust everything and the things you can say and the things you can't say. I don't need all that complication. I'd rather just be directly who I am. And you can't do that on YouTube. It's just the nature of the medium. So, like I said, my life is getting very interesting, and I'd like to free up some time to work on some other projects. So, I might pop up here every once in a while, ramble on my usual stuff, But you're not going to be seeing me every day here like it was for a while, like it was for a long time, actually. Because that didn't lead to the type of outcome that I really wanted. Meet fun people and have good times with them. It just didn't happen for whatever reason. So I'm signing off. Me and my lion here. Come on, say hello. Meow. Say, he's just a baby. He doesn't really understand television. But he really is cute. Anyway, We're just going to go off and do our thing. And please, if you at all have any respect for me, act on my advice. It will be good for you. Over and out.